Good evening. I'm here doing the week 3 turn-in video. This week I finished texturing. I retextured my Gary Oldman model. I know that we talked about how he was kind of looking like a Pixar model in my renders. And then of course my texture was hand painted. I went to that Texturing XYZ website you showed me, and I tried to purchase one of the packs of photos, but it was declining my card and wouldn't let me purchase it. So I actually did some searching, did a bunch of searches on Google Images, and finally found the one that was the most realistic I could find, that I could use for his skin texture. So I was able to find one that has like that stubble look to the sides, and I was able to use it to get that look above the mouth. So I feel like I got a pretty decent texture for what I was trying to do, and it's a little bit better, or quite a bit better than the hand painted one I did. So I took in, made a new poly paint texture out of that, just projected it on there, and painted over the model in the places I needed it. I got that done, and then I went back to rendering, and most of last week has been setting up the materials, tweaking the materials, rendering out tests, and making sure everything's looking good. So I got my bear all groomed out. I finally got the transitions a little better between the different parts of the fur on the body. Got it pretty much looking how I wanted to. Once I put an actual Pixar shader or a Pixar material on the fur, it started looking a lot better immediately. So I was able to up the density of it a little bit, which did tax my render time. But it looks a lot better. So right now my bear is actually running so in my render settings I've been running kind of, I was testing out in HD 720, but I didn't know if you wanted 720 or the full HD 1080 for our final video, for our demo. But I was using the presets in here, so the production high, and that was running probably 30 to 35 minutes a frame because of how dense the fur is. And I was trying to figure out a way to make the fur a little less dense, and I was trying to transition my groomable guides over to like cards, but it wasn't working out too well. Wasn't working out how I wanted it to. And so kind of just went on from there. To give you an idea of what it's going to look like as I render it out next week, since it's going to take a while, I had to go ahead and get it set in stone. So I think my camera is almost in position. I think I might need to shift it slightly to the right, if you're looking at the computer screen, because there's a little bit more of an open space over here, and I kind of want to get him centered, because I have a turntable set up that, as I scrub through, is going to kind of just pan around him and keep going, go all the way around. Now, because of time, as long as it won't diminish the quality, I'm probably going to have to render out maybe 24 or 48 frames and then kind of play it back at a slower speed, just as long as it doesn't distort what the what the film will look like, or what the video will look like, to get that, because I know that I can't render out two separate things or one separate thing for my bear and one for Gary Oldman in a week if I'm trying to run about a 10 to 15 second turnaround of them. But my plan for the bear is to have him rendered out with the full fur, and then to go back and hide the fur and the textures and just do the grayscale model turnaround, and then play the grayscale and then play the fur turntable after that. Just kind of show what the base mesh looks like and then what it looks like with the fur on it, so I can transition between those. And let me pull up my renders. These were all tests that I did. So a couple of them, one of them's a little noisy. The others I tried to do high quality ones just to get a feel. but I was still getting some noise. Like in this one, my bear was feeling kind of noisy. I think it might just be because of the density of the fur, but the background rendered out pretty good. So this is what it's kind of looking like. Now I did make a slight change so the fur is a little less dense than this, but you can barely tell. But this is kind of what I'm looking at right now. I've got like a warm light. I've got a dome light or sphere light positioned above him, 2 area lights, and then a directional environment light. So they're all kind of contributing to what's going on right now. I was getting some harsh cutoffs here from one of the lights, and all I had to do was enlarge the environment I have him standing in, and that went away. It was just from the area light, the way it was hitting the edge. But this is what I'm looking at for my bear right now. I'm thinking about moving him over a little bit. I feel like he's a little bit offset, but I feel like it works. So then I'll go ahead and pull these up while I've got it up here. So these are my renders of Gary Oldman, what I've got so far. So I know he's still looking a little Pixar-ish, little cartoonish, but this is kind of what I've got so far. You know, I was running into some weird artifacts under the eyes, which you can't really see too well here because I did some quick renders. And, you know, it was a lot of, like, striping, but it was blown out detail from the map. So I'm pushing it just enough, with just enough subtlety to try and get those details out without blowing out even the smallest of details. So I did some final tweaking on those, and I think I got pretty much everything I needed on that. Yeah. So I'm going to have him doing a turnaround as well. So I'll load that file and show you what that looks like. I'm really happy with the way I've progressed. With these, I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident about my models now than I was. I feel like the extra work I put in has really helped. So here's what I've got set up. And then let me switch over to my render cam. Alright, in this one, I'm probably going to end up doing the same thing like I talked about with the bear. Going to, you know, render out render out 24 to 48 frames. See if I can get that to work, and then go from there. Because I know I'm going to have to put in time to render it out, put all the video together, and then I'm going to have to actually render out the final video, as you know. But just as a quick show what's going on here, he's just going to kind of do a turnaround. And I'll kind of scrub through it slowly. So I think I might have to back the camera up just a little bit, because I don't feel like having him cut off down here even for those couple frames is good. Because then, I mean, he's in for the rest until right there. So I'm probably going to have to back him up a little bit, or pull the camera back just slightly. Or I can even change the focal length of the camera. The only... but like I said, the only problem I'm running into between the bear and here is, you know, the noise. Which I know is just, I've got to up the sampling for the bear, especially because of how much fur there is and how dense it is. That brings me to a couple questions I wanted to pose to you. So with Gary Oldman, I know that with Gary Oldman, the bear is more intensive. So with the bear, because it has so much X-Gen fur, does that mean that I need to run more samples because of the fur? Because I know that it kind of has to calculate each one. So should I be running more samples over this one because of the fur to get more detail out? And if I bumped the density of this down enough, would it still, if I'd bumped it down some, do you think it would still keep its detail? So I'm going to hop back over to the bear real quick. So right now, I'm going to open up the window for my XGen. So right now we're running oh, come on. Alright, so right now we're in a density of 1300 for it to preview, or for the primitives that are generated. When I go to grooming, I've bumped the pixels per unit down to 56. If you think I could go lower than that and still keep that look, then I think that would help. I of course can't mess with the density here or it'll destroy everything I have there. So that's an option. I could try and lower the density of the primitives here and see if that'll work for the renders, and try and go from there. But I know that rendering this guy out in full 1080 HD is going to be pretty taxing. There's not really any way around that. And my other question was about the resolution. Does our demo reel need to be in 1080p? So the 1920 by 1080 for the whole thing. And also, are there any other specifications? I know I need to do like a title slide. Just my name, my program, and it's my demo reel. And then I'm going to do the grayscale of the bear, the fur and textured render video of the bear. And I'm going to do the same with Gary Oldman. But is there anything else? I just want to know if there's anything else I need to add to that or work on this week. Thanks again for your help. I'm looking forward to your feedback and any comments and critique you might have about anything with setup and if I need to change that or what it should look like. I've got my color schemes for the backgrounds of the renders. And I think those are looking pretty good. I might have to just make a slight change because of doing the grayscale of the bear. It's very similar to the background, very similar to the background color. So I know it kind of might blend in. But I'll talk to you in a few days and we'll go from there and get this finished up. Thanks for all your help.